the dairy-o, the farmer takes the wife. The wife takes the child. The wife takes the child. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the wife takes the child. The child takes the nurse. The child.
Okay. No. Okay. Okay.
Stepmother and her two stepsisters. Now, Cinderella's sisters did not love her, and were very unkind to her. As she grew older they made her work as a servant, making her work all day cleaning, sewing, and cooking. She tried her best to make them happy. One day, a messenger arrived with a special invitation. There was going to be a royal ball at the palace. The king wanted his son to find a bride. Every young woman in the kingdom was invited, including Cinderella. In the attic, Cinderella found a dress that had belonged to her mother. It was a bit old-fashioned, but Cinderella could make it beautiful.
I wish you would take me to the ball with you.
It is no place for you. Stay at home and do your work.
When the stepsisters saw Cinderella's dress, they botched the dress and pulled off the beads. When they were gone, Cinderella, whose heart was very sad, a voice called to her from the garden.
Do not cry, Cinderella, you also shall go to the ball, because you are kind, good girl. Bring me a large pumpkin.
With a wave of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into an elegant coach. A touch of the fairy's wand turned Cat into a very smart coachman. Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, said the fairy godmother, waving her wand again. Cinderella was now wearing a beautiful gown and sparkling glass slippers, but all of this came with a warning. When the clock struck midnight, the magic spell would wear off. She stepped into her coach and drove off. At the ball, Prince couldn't take his eyes off Cinderella. She was so beautiful that everybody looked at her, and wondered who she was, and the prince asked her to dance with him, and afterwards would dance with no one else. For Cinderella, the night was a dream come true. Before too long, the clock began to strike midnight. Goodbye, Cinderella said, hurrying away. Come back, called the prince.
I don't even know your name.
As Cinderella fled, one of her glass slippers came off. The prince was very much surprised when he missed Cinderella again. He asked all the attendants, but no one had seen her. He said
that no one had gone out of the palace except a poor aged beggar girl.
Prince sent out a herald to proclaim that, whichever lady in his kingdom could put on this glass slipper should be his wife. All the great ladies who wished to be a princess tried to put it on, but in vain. Cinderella's sisters tried, but could not get it on. And then Cinderella asked if she might try. They laughed at her, but the prince, hearing of her wish, sent for her. She went with her sisters in her poor dress, but very clean, and at once put on the slipper. Then she drew the fellow of it from her pocket, and slipped it on her other foot. The prince, who had thought the moment he saw her that the poor